This is the Crescent City Connection Podcast, episode 7. We got a lot to talk about this week. We got LSU football. Brad, what's going on with recruiting right now?
Oh man, it's a good day to be a Tiger. Right now, everybody knows LSU has the number one recruiting class for the class of 2020. But let's hit on 2019 a little bit, the guys that are already on campus. I think that this group really has a chance to be special with guys playing early. Everybody knows it's hard to get on the field early at LSU, but normally we don't recruit guys to get on the field in 3 or 4 years. We recruit guys that we expect to play early. And I mean, I hate to say it, but probably get out of school in 3 years. But anyway, everybody knows about Derek Stingley, number one cornerback in the nation. I expect big things about him. A name I don't hear people talking about enough is Trey Palmer. I feel like we're not talking about enough. He went to Kentwood, real small school, but he did lead his team to a state championship last year. And then, of course, Devontae Lee. He's good friends with kid from Kentwood. He went to A-Meet. That's 2 freshman receivers, 4 or 5-star receivers that could have went to any school in the country. They chose to stay home. I think that's really big. I mean, we really got names all over the place. Another one is, I can't even pronounce his name, Aki. I know that's his last name. He's from Utah, the big Samoan. You know who I'm talking about. But yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Big defensive.
I'm really expecting a lot of. I really like the kid. I really, really do. I like our recruiting class as a whole.
Dude, 6'3", 361 pounds.
Yes, and then he went to East High School. I went and looked at their schedule. That's a powerhouse school out there in Utah. And yeah, they won the state championship. He was a beast in every game they played. He's unblockable. Coach O even said it. If he gets in very good shape, he will be unblockable at the SEC level. But really, I mean, we got it at every position, too. Everybody knows about the running back. Right here in the River Parishes, went to Destrehan. I was on him a few years back. I saw Destrehan play against Harnville, and the hype was Puka Williams. And I walked away from the game saying, John Emery is the best running back in that game. And y'all all seen Puka. Puka's been tearing it up at Kansas.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. He's one of the best I've ever seen play at the high school level. But I also do feel like that about
Les Miles now, right?
Yeah.
Les Miles loves to run the ball. He should have a monster.
He's going to get his touches. Yeah. He's going to get his touches.
That dude is electric.
That's really the word for him. He's so electric. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw that game last year against Oklahoma.
He almost single-handedly won that game.
He rushed for 253, 2 or 3 touchdowns on the ground. I'm pretty sure it's 3. And then a touchdown passing through a 9-yard touchdown pass. I mean, he cut up. He cut up just to keep him in the game, too. OU was good last year. Really good. Y'all know that.
Yeah.
But we're kind of getting off subject a little bit. My bad. But, yeah, we're really excited about LSU football this year.
But to touch on one thing you brought up with the Aka guy, Salt Lake City. One thing I'm noticing with LSU recruiting right now, we're not just... Like it's usually
Louisiana.
We try to keep the Louisiana guys home.
Try to hold the Tigers.
Yeah, we might hit up like Eastern Texas. We might hit up Florida.
LSU's always pretty big in Houston.
Yeah,
LSU's always pretty big in Houston.
I mean, dude, we're
going everywhere.
Exactly. We got recruits coming from Michigan, Salt Lake City, Maryland, Virginia,
California,
Washington D.C.
Listen, don't forget the Cali boys coming in.
Cali.
That's one thing I love about he's one.
What
of the
did everybody
best
say when Les Miles left? What's gonna happen?
Recruiting's gonna drop.
Recruiting has gotten better year over year.
Facts. It definitely has gotten better, and I don't see why it would stop now. LSU brought in the number 3 recruiting class this year with all of these names in state, a few big out-of-state guys. The class of 2020 class is even better. We're right now the number 1 class in the country. We have 24 guys signed verbally right now. Of course, the papers aren't in or whatever, but yes, we have verbal commitments from 24 guys. And I think it's 5 5-star guys and the rest 4-star guys. All giant names. We got one of the best receivers in the country from Washington, D.C., Rakeem Jarrett. Remember the name. Then we go get another one of the top 5 receivers in the country from California, Jermaine Burton. Oh, my gosh. It's really nasty when I'm sitting here thinking about it. If all of these guys stick to their pledge and come to LSU, I do not see why this can't be the same LSU we saw in 2002 through 2011.
You know the selling point to them receivers and skill players has got to be Joe Brady's new offense.
The spread offense.
Dude, I really love that you brought that up. I touched on this when we first made the move. LSU going to get a guy like Joe Brady who has a true NFL mind. I feel like that is going to help us so much. And we're going to see it. LSU fans are tired of hearing about the offense changing. They always say we switching to
the offense is different this year. It's gonna be different.
Guess what? It's really the year. We really go get a guy under. He was just soaking up everything like a sponge from Sean Payton and Drew Brees. What two better guys do you want to learn from? That's who we got in Baton Rouge. And I'll tell you what, the receiving core, I just told you four guys coming in, 2 from 2019, 2 from 2020. The guys we have on campus right now, these guys are elite.
The returning guys from last year.
You will hear the name nationally this year, Jamar Chase. Yeah. And I feel like another one is Terrace Marshall. This kid
and Jefferson's a beast too.
I like Jefferson. He's
a little slot guy.
Yeah, but he can also take the top off your defense. Yeah. Then we got Stephon Sullivan, 6'7" guy. He plays a little bit of tight end, a little bit of receiver.
Yeah. Our skill players are elite.
Randy Moss' son is on our team, and not a lot of people know that.
Really?
Yeah, Randy Moss' son is a tight end for LSU, Thaddeus Moss. Huh. And I mean, I don't know if he's getting playing time right now because I haven't seen it. But I mean, on the depth chart, he's the second tight end, and normally the second tight ends will get some playing time.
Yeah. So you got all them skill players, and then you got a quarterback that is capable of getting them the ball in spots where they want it. I think Joe Burrow is one of the most underrated QBs in college football, and I really have a feeling like he's gonna take another step going into next year too.
Yeah, that's what we need to see from him. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not totally sold yet because of the situation. When he's under pressure, we do see a different quarterback. And that's one thing about the SEC. You have to be good under pressure because that's the type of throws you have to make against Alabama. You have to make against Auburn. You know what? He did make one against Auburn last year, so I don't want to say that he can make the throws.
Oh, that Auburn game, he made some clutch throws.
A little bit of time.
Okay, Blake, but I'm talking about on the plays with no time. I need to see him
how many quarterbacks
how many can throw in no time?
Tua. The elite ones, Tua, Trevor Lawrence. That's what I'm saying. All of these teams that are winning the national championship.
They're going top 10. Okay, Great Wall of China back there.
Okay, but that's my point. That's LSU. We're at that tier of teams right now that we're great, but we're not elite. The elite teams right now.
Yeah, Tua does usually have a lot of time to throw the ball too. I mean, they do have a great offensive line every year.
The one thing I could say about LSU this year, I need us to get good up front.
Yeah,
I need us to be dominant.
That's it. That's the bottom line. That's it.
Well, I think that was a big priority going into the offseason was improving the line of scrimmage because last year against Bama, they dominated both sides of the ball. So I think
Bama won that game last year in the trenches.
They win every game in the trenches. That's how they always beat us.
That is true, but they're not too shabby on the outside either. Their 4 receivers are pretty nasty.
But we have 7 returning starters on offense, and 4 of those 7 are on the offensive line.
So
big. We got some
continuity.
Continuity on the offensive line, so that should be good. And then we also recruited the number 2 offensive guard in the country. So that should help on that offensive line. Also, on the other side of the ball, on the defensive line, we have 9 return stars on defense, 3 of them on that defensive line. And we got a returning redshirt freshman, Jarrell Cherry, 4-star, 6'3". He should take another step. So, I mean, that defensive line and offensive line should both be improved from last year.
Yeah, for me, a player that I'm really looking at, I'm looking for him to have a breakout year. Jacob Phillips. If you really look at LSU's defense, the last 5 or 6 years, we've always had a linebacker in the middle that can really call the defense and can really run around and make plays. All of them are playing on Sundays now. Devin White, the Saints got to see him twice a year for the next 25 years, it seems like. Deion Jones, same thing with him. One of the best linebackers in the game.
We always have
He didn't even play at LSU till his senior year, but now that's what the league is. It has to be guys that can run sideline to side. When everybody knows Quan Alexander just got traded to the 49ers, I think.
Yeah. He's going to be making plays out there.
There's names everywhere from LSU. Jacob Phillips is the next one. He's going to play the middle linebacker this year, the same position that Devin White played last year. So he's got big shoes to fill. But I expect it out of him. I expect him to have a really big breakout year and lead this defense.
So you see Patrick Queen more like outside linebacker?
Exactly. Patrick Queen is one of those type that can do it all.
Because he's a beast.
Yes, I really like Patrick Queen. He was Miss Football in Louisiana.
Yeah.
You don't get that when you're a slouch.
Yeah.
Patrick Queen is an outside linebacker because sometimes you do want him coming off the edge. He's that type that could do both. He can rush the passer, but he's also really good in space. And you know that outside linebacker a lot of times gets stuck man on man with the running back coming out of the backfield. You need a guy that's really a good athlete out there. Patrick Queen is that. He's a very
and also
good athlete.
like teams like Bama always got a pretty good tight end too, And a lot of times they get matched up directly with them. So you got to have a good linebacker to cover in space.
There's no doubt about it.
But LSU does like to use the safeties a lot right there, too.
I'm about to say, but that's when a lot of situations when you're playing LSU, if we feel like your tight end is a really breakout player, we'll stick Delpit on him, and it's almost...
And that's shutdown.
Yeah, it's almost good night. Like, you're not even throwing to him. He has that much respect. I mean, I called it on the podcast. Now, if you look at all the way too early mock drafts, they have him going 3rd overall. Don't say you heard it here first, even though I know you did. But, he's he's one of the
Crescent City Connection podcast, it's always breaking news.
Always get the early takes.
Yeah. Do you see Stingley? Do you see him as the best corner since Patrick Peterson?
Derek Stingley, I see him as a guy where we don't know how good he could be because nobody knows how good he could be. The sky's the limit with him. Our defensive coordinator, Dave Aranda, said he was an early enrollee last year, so he was on campus practicing.
He was practicing for the Fiesta Bowl.
And they said he was the best player.
He got 3
on the
picks
team.
in practice before the Fiesta Bowl.
Wasn't even eligible
as
to play.
As a 17-year-old.
As a 17-year-old, still supposed to be in high school, they said he was the best player on the team. I think Derek Stingley could be the best cornerback since Patrick Peterson, maybe better. He's that special. He's that type of special. He's a once-in-a-generation player.
So we're going to have him returning punts, too.
Oh, yes. I mean, and we have a battle back there because the guy that I just told you about from Kentwood, Trey Palmer, flies. 4'3" type of guy.
LSU always has a crazy good punt returner.
Yes, he's really electric back there returning kicks. So I heard right now the competition is him and Stingley, 2 freshmen. 2 freshmen for the punt return and the kickoff returning job. I like it.
Yeah, I definitely see our freshman class contributing big time this year immediately. And then, like we were saying, next year's recruiting class might be even better, one for the ages.
Another little thing about next year's recruiting class. So everybody knows LSU's been a quarterback away for forever. We all love Joe Burrow. We got 1 year with him. Next year, we're bringing in 2 quarterbacks, both 4-star guys, both big, tall guys that can throw it, move around a little bit. Max Johnson from Georgia and T.J. Finley from right here at Ponchatoula High School. Both guys, 4-star guys, like I said, they can both really spread the field, have really strong arms. But we need to see, do we have a guy that can fill the shoes of Joe Burrow, possibly be better, or is that guy with Miles Brennan? I think next year there will be a real quarterback competition. And hopefully we got a guy that can win that job and really take LSU to the next level.
I'm not going to lie. Miles Brennan looked impressive in the spring game. And they had a little scrimmage that he also looked very impressive.
Yeah, preseason scrimmage. He went 13 for 25, 260 and a touchdown. Coach O said he put on weight this year.
That was big.
That's one thing he needed.
He had a small frame.
He was scrawny.
Yeah, but this year after redshirt and last year, he still got 2 after this.
Yes.
So I think
he could sit 1 more year this year.
I think people are forgetting about this guy. Like, he's been here for 3 years now. And it's kind of like he just got stuck on the back burner because Burrow came in. But this guy threw for 15,000 yards and 165 touchdowns in high school. He's got to have some kind of talent to do that. Would you agree? Some kind of talent.
I definitely agree.
Well, he's got all the measurables. Like, he looks like a prototypical quarterback, and he's got a cannon arm.
Yeah.
So I definitely see potential in him for sure. And I think if he didn't see the possibility of starting in the future, he would have transferred.
He would have been gone.
So I definitely see him waiting. And I think he's going to have a legit shot to start next year and perform very well.
I think he's the guy.
Yeah, he's bought in, and that's one thing that I agree with Josh. He would have been left if he thought he didn't have the opportunity.
No doubt.
So he's waiting all this time. I do expect him to be the guy next year. All I'm saying is we're bringing on a competition. We went and made sure we got 2 guys that we feel like can possibly take his job.
Competition is always healthy.
That's great. You need competition on a good team.
Definitely. And LSU should be a very good team. Very good team this year. So let's break down the schedule a little bit. Texas week 2.
Wait up. First things first. Do not skip over Georgia State, I think it is.
Really?
Georgia Southern. Yeah. Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern, if I'm not mistaken, runs the wing T. Am I right on that? I'm pretty sure Georgia Southern runs the wing T. And that's such a very...
I'll be honest, I don't know anything about it.
Week 1, you're going up
so we got to prepare for that.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
That's like playing like Georgia Tech or something. You have to prepare for the triple option.
It's the same exact thing. So I just do not want to look past them. We saw a few years back when we looked past Troy. They came to our house and beat us. I don't want to look past them.
Troy was a legit team.
That's what I'm saying. But so is Georgia Southern. So we need to come in and really send a message with that first game. I'm talking about a 45-0 message. That's the message I want to see. So then we go into Texas confident. Because Texas is a good team. They're returning Sam Ellinger. They had one of the best
he's a pretty
classes.
Good quarterback.
Texas is going to be for real. But I'm excited to see LSU really take off. And that's going to be like kind of a launch spring game for LSU. After we take care of Georgia Southern, we beat Texas.
Texas is going to be tough to beat at home.
Yeah.
You see most of these games that we play in early in the season, they're neutral site games. Mm-hmm. But we're going to Texas. Texas is 7-1 against LSU at home. So it's going to be pretty tough to beat them there.
7-1 against us at home. When did those games take place?
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
Sometime in the last century.
Wow.
Okay, so here's my thing. That is going to be a tough game to win.
College football.
So that makes it
beginning.
After you do get that win, that makes it so much bigger for your team. After we get that win at Texas, now we're on our high horse. Now we're ready to take on the SEC schedule. Who we got after Texas?
Is it just me, or is that Texas game a must-win though? If you want to make the playoffs,
it's a must-win.
Because, all right, you got Georgia Southern, like you said. We have to prepare for that unique offense that they have. Texas, week 3, Northwestern State. Week 4, Vanderbilt. Week 5, Utah State. And then it gets into the meat of the schedule. You got Florida, Mississippi State, Auburn, and Alabama, a 4-game stretch. That's the death stretch of our schedule.
Everybody knows that's the stretch, but I'm looking at the stretch before that. The key is we need to be undefeated going into that. LSU,
no doubt.
We have to be undefeated. We don't need no blemishes. About time we get Vanderbilt out of one of our East draws. I'm so used to LSU playing Florida and Georgia.
Listen, of course, when we finally get Vanderbilt there,
this is the best. This is the best they've been in years.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'd rather play Vanderbilt this year than play Georgia again with Jake.
No doubt.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I mean, everybody knows LSU plays Florida. That's one of our rivalry games. So we play Florida out of the East every year.
And we finally got them at home again.
Yes.
Finally.
And then we get another East team. This year we get Vanderbilt. I'm looking at Alabama's schedule. If I'm not mistaken, Alabama plays Florida this year. So they actually no. I mean, yeah. Alabama plays Florida this year.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. And
I don't know. That sounds like too tough a schedule for Bama.
Exactly, because they always play Tennessee. So Tennessee's their other East school, and if I'm not mistaken, they do play Florida this year. So Alabama, hopefully, maybe they can even slip up somewhere along the line.
Please help us out.
You know what I'm saying?
Please.
Because I mean, dude, and people say we're just being salty. They literally play cupcakes every year. And Tennessee hasn't been good lately.
Look at our big non-conference game.
They don't have it.
Duke.
Last year it was
Duke.
Oh my God, Duke week 1. Last year it was Louisville, a bad Florida State team a few years ago. But guess what? I'm not here to beat up on Alabama. I'm just here to tell you that LSU's for real. And if we could somehow figure out a way to go 11-1 with this schedule, don't be surprised if you see us in the playoffs. And that's even with a loss at Alabama. If we lose in Tuscaloosa but win every other game, you can bet
we're gonna be in it.
LSU will be in the playoffs.
Well, I just checked. Alabama doesn't play Florida.
Who's the other East? Who's the other East?
They play South Carolina.
South Carolina. That's what it is. They play South Carolina and Tennessee out of the East.
Yeah.
That's what it is. South Carolina is still a good East school.
Yeah, they're not bad.
For the most part. Everybody knows Kentucky was very good last year, but a lot of people don't understand what they're losing. They're losing Benny Snell, leading rusher in their school history. Josh Allen, top 10 pick. I don't know if Kentucky's going to be what they were last year. They won 10 games last year. A lot of people don't realize that.
But I feel like we still want Bama to be undefeated when we play them too, Because I feel like you want everybody LSU plays to be
as
high on the rankings as possible.
Yeah, but except because Bama's got that. They got the name. It doesn't matter if they lost the game already.
Exactly.
Beating Bama is beating Bama.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but that is a good point because if your only loss comes against an undefeated Alabama team, now that's saying, okay, this team's undefeated. Of course,
you lost to the best team in the country.
Exactly.
Your only loss is to the best team in the country.
So I do see where you're coming from. That's really...
I would argue that for the rest of the schedule.
I also checked...
if you want Mississippi State to be ranked, Auburn to be ranked...
Florida.
Yeah. Well, Florida's going to be ranked.
Mississippi State.
I don't know.
You really want...
Week 0 this Saturday. I got Miami.
Really?
I got Miami. It's the upset. I mean, it's week 0. It's a rivalry game. Let's go. I got Miami upset in Florida just to piss off everybody.
That's the hot take of the day right there.
But we got it.
I mean, you want Florida to win that game, right?
I do, but I'm just telling you what I got. Yeah. I got Miami upset in Florida this week.
All right, so there you are. Go.
Any bettors out there? Hit that money line.
I don't know. Last year I couldn't pick my nose to tell you the guy's telling his truth. But
I checked. CBS Sports has LSU's strength of schedule as number 5 in the nation, or we have the 5th hardest schedule in the nation.
That's nothing that we're not.
And Alabama's. I don't even think they were in the top 20.
Of course not. It's not. Yeah. It's not a surprise. I mean, we start off.
It seems like we always have a top 5 strength of schedule.
Always. Blake said it. We're going to Texas week 2.
We're not.
I'm not talking about a neutral site game. I'm talking about going to their place.
We're not scared to schedule the top teams.
We definitely want to be battle tested by the time we make it to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like every year we schedule one of the top teams. One of the top teams from a few years back, or a top team when they're making the schedule.
Or like a top team that ESPN thinks is a top team. Like Oregon.
Yeah, we had Oregon.
TCU, they always hype them up, and then LSU just lays the hammer down.
Back when Oregon was good, too. That's when we played them.
Yeah.
They're pretty good this year.
They're no slouch.
No.
So I want to talk about who you think is going to be the best freshman on this team.
Derek Stingley, obviously. I mean, he played.
Would you say obviously though?
Obviously.
So you think he's going to make more plays this year than John Emery?
Well, we'll just say on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay.
I mean, the guy he played 3 games as an 8th grader, and the coach says, "All right, you playing varsity." So he's playing varsity at 13 years old. And then he graduates high school early and practices with LSU at 17, and he got the 3 picks in the Fiesta Bowl practice. I mean, he's ready to go right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think John Emery's ready to go too, though.
I'll agree with that.
I think they got Edwards-Helaire as the number 1 back right now, but I think Emery is our best back, and I think when it's all said and done, Emery is going to be.
Yeah, he's got the higher ceiling. I mean, Edwards-Helaire is, he's pretty good.
He's solid. What he could do.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He could catch the ball at the backfield. He's got some explosiveness. But he's an NFL back.
Yeah, definitely.
He really is. But I kind of like this guy that nobody's talking about because Emery's getting all the talk. Tyron Davis out of Baton Rouge. Another running back. Big-time running back in Louisiana, played for Southern Lab, led his team to 2 or 3 state championships. He's going to get some carries, too. John Emery should be the guy because, like Josh said, he's a surefire NFL back. But we do have guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Chris Curry is another guy who was a freshman last year from Florida, big recruit. He can produce this year, and Tyron Davis. So it's going to be a crowded backfield, as always. That's what I expected, LSU. All those years that we were so good, the 2011 year had Alfred Blue, Spencer Ware, Kenny Hilliard.
NFL guys.
All NFL guys.
And how they usually run that, they kind of give them all a few carries in the first quarter, and then they find the hot hand.
They see who's hot.
They ride with that hot hand.
They see who's hot. Then you get a guy on 3rd down to come in there, change the pace. LSU's known for having backs. If you really go look at it, we have so many guys in the league getting carries. I mean,
honestly, just my opinion, I think that's why LSU backs are so good in the NFL, because when they get there, they hardly have any tread on their tires.
They're fresh.
Like Alabama with Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, who's another one?
Trent Richardson.
They ran them backs into the ground by the time they made it to the NFL.
They get one good year out of them, and then they
a few good years, and then it's over with. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about LSU this year as a whole, and like we kind of touched on earlier, the biggest position group to me that's going to break out is the wide receiving core. I think we're so special out there. Like I said, Jamar Chase, that's my favorite guy on the team. Everybody loves Jefferson. I love Jefferson. Terrace Marshall, I'm seeing him to break out this year. He's one of the big 6'4" guys, and he runs 4.4. You can flat get it. We just got guys. We got guys everywhere. And I don't
know if you touched on him. What do you think about Marcel Brooks?
Marcel Brooks is a very good recruit out of Texas. He was from Flower Mound, Texas. Went to Marcus High School, big 6A school out there, 5A if I might be mistaken. But I'm really excited about him. He's an outside linebacker type. He likes to come off the edge, but he can also play very well in space. he can almost play safety, but he's just one of those type that's so good around the ball.
Coach Hill compares him to Delpit.
Exactly.
That was his comparison.
Exactly, because he could literally play anywhere on the field.
So
and if you notice, that's what we do with Delpit. Delpit will come off the edge. Delpit is so good that he needs to be around the ball. That's why we play him in the box a little bit like Tyrann Mathieu, a little bit like who else? Jamal Adams, who's now doing that in the NFL. I'm a little bit biased, but I think Jamal Adams is the best safety in the league. I think Jamal Adams is that good. And Grant Delpit will be there one day.
Safety is another position where we just loaded in the NFL.
It's DBU.
Eric Reed.
It's DBU.
Adams.
It's not even close. It's DBU. Ron Brooks still gets playing time in the league.
Yeah.
Like, Tyrann Mathieu, is he a corner? Is he a safety? I'd call him a safety.
Well, that reputation is why we keep getting these guys over. Because Marcel Brooks, he mentioned, I wanted to play at DBU.
And that's a linebacker saying that. I mean, like I said, he could play safety, but you're going to see a lot of him
he plays
around
everything.
The line of scrimmage. He does play everything. He does.
He plays everything.
But we're going to see him a lot at that outside linebacker spot, coming off the edge, also dropping back, playing your tight end or your running back.
Defensive coordinators love players like that, versatile players where you could put them everywhere. He
even played offense in high school.
You can kind of just roam them. You could just roam them around the field and just say play, Just read eyes of the quarterback. Go make a play.
It's so big to have a guy like that on your defense that kind of can be a coach on the field. That's one of the things that I like the most about Delpit, his football IQ. You can just tell when he's out there, he knows where he's supposed to be. He knows where the ball's going.
Yeah.
A really good defensive player is always going to have the IQ of an offensive player. They're going to know the game from an offensive standard, so they know where they need to be. They know where you want to go as an offense to beat them when they're in cover 2.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch a lot of Chargers football, but he reminds me of Derwin James. Because every single time a big play is made, you hear his name called.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Every time.
Derwin James is another guy that I would say best safety in the league. Him and Jamal Adams are two young guys. I think both going into their third year in the league. And to me, it don't get any better than that at the safety position.
I feel like when you have a safety like that, do you, as a defensive coordinator, do you even tell him anything, or do you just throw him out there and say just play? Because players like Ed Reed, dude, he's just playing.
It's instinct.
Yeah,
it's instinct.
It's all instinct.
You're not telling him where to line up because he knows more than you. Safeties like that, you just gotta give him free roam to just play.
I definitely agree with that statement.
So we talked about who will be the best freshman. Who do you think will be the best returning player? That's definitely Delpit, right?
Okay,
Definitely Delpit.
I've touched on that. Delpit, I think he's the best returning player.
What about on
country.
offense?
But on offense, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is going to be an everyday name in the whole country, not just in the Southeastern Conference, in the whole country. People are going to hear about Jamar Chase because he has NFL talent, and I think he's a real number one receiver in the SEC. And people right now, their main focus when they stop in the LSU passing game is stopping Justin Jefferson because he's kind of our biggest deep threat.
Yeah.
But really, he's came out of nowhere. Justin Jefferson wasn't a big recruit.
He was a 3-star, right?
He was like a 3-star guy. He was our very last scholarship given in his class. I expect Jamar Chase,
and that was probably just respect out of the Jefferson name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He got
put in the work and got good.
Exactly. He's put in the work, and he is a very good receiver. But I do see Jamar Chase being the future number one in this offense. And like I said, another name would be Terrence Marshall because that's another receiver that was coming out of Parkway High School, number 2 receiver in the entire country, 5-star guy. These are guys that need the ball. And in an offense like Joe Brady's offense, we're trying to get the ball to our athletes in space. I've been watching practice. I see a lot of little screens. I see a lot of tunnel screens, quick screens. I see a lot of slants.
Right off the line.
Get the ball to them right off the line and give them the chance to make the play. That's it.
Put the ball in your playmakers' hands. That's the best way, especially when you have playmakers like we have. So just looking at the schedule, can we get into the playoffs losing 2 games? Or
I don't think that should be
Let's not think about that right now.
Yeah, let's not think about that.
That's something.
But it is a possibility.
I think it's realistic.
A possibility, especially if you look at it like this. We do slip up and lose at Texas, and then lose a close one
because
at Alabama.
Because the Texas game is early.
It's early and it's non-conference.
Yeah.
So if we go through our conference schedule with only a slip up at Alabama in a close game. If we were to lose to Texas, then maybe get in at 10-2.
Because you'd still probably beat like 4 ranked teams.
Oh yes.
Florida, Mississippi State, Auburn,
Texas A&M.
and Texas A&M. You're still beating 4 ranked teams, and then let's say if Texas is legit and they beat us, and then Alabama's probably be the number 1 team in the country, so you're probably losing to 2 top 5.
Well, if you look
programs.
at last year, it would almost be the same thing if we didn't lose that ridiculous anomaly game versus Texas A&M. We'd have been 2 losses.
Yeah.
So 2 losses.
We would need help, but you don't want that to happen.
No, you don't want that. But 2 losses is not out of the question.
Yeah, it's possible.
LSU's last national championship. We
2
snuck in there with
losses.
2 losses.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, both of those losses were in triple overtime, so that is a little bit of an asterisk. But yeah,
And we got a lot of help that year.
we got a lot of help that year.
Definitely.
But we proved the voters right. We played in the Sugar Bowl and we absolutely put it on Ohio State.
Oh, yeah. I remember going to my room after that loss and writing down a huge list of stuff that had to happen in order for us to
Possibilities.
get into the championship game. And everything happened.
I
It was
remember
crazy.
Yeah, what was the odds of that?
One of the upsets
Probably
was,
at
I
least
think,
1,000
Missouri
million.
at Oklahoma State. This is when Oklahoma State was really good. Missouri was in the Big 12. I remember
And I
Missouri
think
got
needed,
the upset.
we needed West Virginia to be upset, too. And I
West
think,
Virginia got upset in the backyard brawl, they call it. West Virginia versus Pitt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. That was
Yeah,
it.
I remember.
What a year.
We need some special stuff to happen in Baton Rouge. I mean, the talent's there, the buzz is there. Now we need a national championship, and that's the thing about
We've
LSU.
never been in the playoff yet.
That's the thing about LSU. Expectations will never just be an SEC championship. Will never just be make the playoff. We have a standard at LSU.
Every year it's
and the
playoffs.
championship, and it's a championship standard.
At least playoffs.
We
It's
need
really a
to
championship.
be in the playoffs, and we need to compete for a national championship.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, we definitely have the coaches to do it. We have, I'd say, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, and now we're getting a proven guy in Joe Brady. You know,
And I like that Coach O did that. He said that was one of the mistakes that he made at Ole Miss. He was the head guy, and he tried to have his hand in everything too much. He's the head coach. He wouldn't get the best coordinators money
I
could
think
buy.
that's the mistake Les Miles made.
I think
he kind of
his ego got in the way.
Coordinators
Yeah.
do what they wanted. He wanted to be in control of everything.
And when you look at those coordinators on that staff when Les Miles got here, now of course these are all coaching under Nick Saban. We had guys like Will Muschamp. We had guys like Bo Pelini.
Yeah.
We had guys like, there's more. I can't
But
think.
Les Miles should just let them do their job and just be the motivator, because that's what Les Miles. He's good at recruiting and he's good at motivating his players.
Same thing with Coach O, and that's
Yeah.
what he is doing. He's a very good recruiter. As a matter of fact, to me, Coach O is a top 3 recruiter in the whole country. That's
We're
why I was
definitely
not.
Obviously, we're seeing the results.
That's
right
why
now.
I was not mad with the hire of Coach O, because of that one thing. I knew he could recruit, and kind of he's proven it too. He has so many connections outside of Louisiana.
Because of his coaching career.
Yes, everybody knows that LSU, you have to put up a fence. You have to get the best guys in state. But whenever we're getting those best guys in state, and we're still getting our 2 or 3 from Texas, and now we're dipping into Washington,
Yeah,
D.C.,
why
and
limit
California.
yourself to just this area? You got the whole
Exactly.
country.
Coach
You
O
know,
is doing
Alabama's not limited to themselves to
No,
just,
they're reaching in Louisiana,
Oh, they're
constantly
everywhere.
grabbing players.
If you really want to compete with Alabama and have, you know, the top 1-2 recruiting class every year, you can't just limit yourself to this one area.
No.
You gotta. Why would you turn down a guy in California or Washington D.C. just because they're not in Texas, Louisiana? Go get the talent if it's there. If he wants to come to LSU, go give him a scholarship.
Yeah.
And that's the type of program we are. We attract those type of players. Players want to come be a Tiger, and that's proven.
Bro, we just. I mean,
that's proven when
who
we get
doesn't want to play at Death Valley on Saturday night?
exactly.
The atmosphere of LSU.
And when you really look at it, all these kids have a goal. Their goal is to get to the league. LSU's a pipeline.
Perfect place.
Everybody calls it
Every single
DBU,
year.
but it's not just DBs now. I just named 5 running backs in the league right now running the ball. Everybody knows about the receivers, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, to name, the top 2. It's everywhere. It is
Yeah, it's
everywhere.
at every position. And I think LSU did another thing that I think could help recruiting too. Not that we need much help, but $28 million renovation to their locker room and all that. That you need to do that to keep up with Alabama, in my opinion.
Our locker room is now the best locker room in the country, which is another thing we have. When recruits get to Baton Rouge, we show them this is Tiger Stadium, this is Death Valley, this is the Mecca. Now you walk into the locker room, which is also the same thing.
Decked
it's
out.
the best. These kids now have a bed in their locker. They can fold their lockers out into beds,
Take
put
a nap
in their
before
little
the game.
iPad, watch them film, and fall asleep. I mean, come on, man. We got the best of the best at LSU, and that's why we need to win a national championship and
we're a
compete
top
for a national
program.
championship.
We need to justify these renovations this year.
I mean, LSU really, we haven't been in the conversation since we had that loss in the national championship in 2011, and that's 8 years ago now. Before that, we won it all in 2007. We won it all in 2003. Won a Sugar Bowl in 2005. We're in the conversation every year. I need that to be back. That's just the way it is
It's
at
time.
LSU. It's high standards.
We're due. But yeah, so that about wraps up LSU football. Go Tigers.